And we are live. Welcome everybody to another episode of Sundays with the General. You're just gonna have me today. Just a little depressed from the other day, not completely. Um, which Happy Father's Day, everybody. Obviously, all I'm gonna talk about today is the NBA Finals. The Celtics did not win. There was Warriors 1-6. Lost three straight games. Lost in your home court to end the series. They played probably their worst game of the playoffs. Well, Jason Tatum played his worst game of the playoffs at the worst possible time. The team as a whole played the worst series they'd played in the entire playoffs at the worst possible time. At the end of the day, they got outran, they got out hustled, they got outplayed. It's not all the reason to. Everyone's ripping the Celtics apart right now. I think they got. I think they were gassed out, man. Fuck off, Kenny. That's what I said. Yeah, the Celtics lost. I think they got gassed. Jason Tatum this season played more minutes than anybody in the NBA. This is after playing on Team USA last season. I believe he played more minutes in the playoffs than anyone else too. Um, that's you could see it in their body language. You could see it in there. You could see it in the way they were running. They were out of gas by the end of that run. Really, they were rotating eight guys for the majority of the playoffs. Um, you rotate your starting five of Tatum, Brown, Smart, Horford, and Williams, and then you'd rotate in White, Pritchard, and Grant Williams, who I like all of them. I like all three of those players. There are things that Grant Williams needs to work on to be more effective in his game. Peyton Pritchard's shot completely disappeared in that series, as did Derek White's. Derek White played good defense at the same. Might have been playing good defense, but his shot was just not there. And his shot is actually is much as he's not known for being an offensive player, his shot is a big reason why the Celtics were in the finals. He played great in other series. He unfortunately his shot just wasn't there in the finals. Peyton Pritchard, his shot wasn't there. He wasn't playing any defense. He wasn't running for rebounds like he was in other series. Like I said, I think they were gassed. But Pritchard, at the if his shot wasn't going, he's not good. He's not good on defense. He was pretty much unplayable. But they had to play him because the bench just isn't that deep. That was really the problem that I saw with the Celtics as this playoff run went on, as the finals went on, is the bench just really wasn't there, and Golden State's depth, Golden State's experience was there, and the load management that they do during the regular season seems to pay off. What Steph Curry had legs. All these guys had legs. Andrew Wiggins, you got to give props. He played a fantastic series. I'm not going to say that he put the clamps on Tatum, as some people are saying, because I do think Golden State was switching heavy down the end of that series. And I think Tatum's performance is getting a little overblown. I think there was clearly something wrong with the shoulder. I need to remember this kid's only 24 years old. Um, Michael Jordan didn't have a fucking ring at that time. Steph Curry didn't have a ring at that time. He's a young kid. He'll be back. Um, I really am wondering what is going to come out about that shoulder, because there has to be something there. The way it wasn't Tatum's effort that lost it. His shot just went away, and I know that kid's got a shot in big moments because we'd seen it throughout the playoffs there. as for the Warriors, man, props to Andrew Wiggins, though, like I was saying. He played a great series. Um, obviously, I, I don't think being the number one guy for a team like Minnesota was ever for him, but this is a good role for Andrew Wiggins. I expect him to find a way to work it out and stay in Golden State. I believe his contract is up. I think he's going to stick around there. He seems to have found a good home. They like him. He did his part, man. He was getting the fucking rebounds. He was playing good defense. He was getting his buckets. He he played good. Draymond Green played like shit for most of the series, and he fouled out 3 times. So Draymond Green didn't have a great series, uh, and I can't fucking stand the guy. Um, but the last 2 games of that series, I think he actually played a lot better, and I don't think the numbers show it. I think his defense was there. He was getting more rebounds. He was getting more assists. You can see that in the numbers, I think. But I think his defense really stepped up in those last 2 games. And as much as he wasn't a big scoring impact, I believe he hit may one of the biggest shots of Game 6 the other night in the fourth quarter. The Celtics were on, I think, an 11-0 run at the time. And he hit a jumper from around the foul line, off an inbound, and it was just he quieted the crowd. He slowed the run. He stopped the run. Really, I think it was one of the biggest difference makers in the game. Credit to him for making that shot. I do think if the Celtics had cut the lead at the time within single digits, if I believe it was down to 8 when he hit that shot. If he bounces that off the rim, the ball goes to the Celtics, get the ball, go down and get 2 points, and they cut that to 6 inside the Garden. That crowd might have taken them all the way there. So that's a huge shot to me, for Draymond Green to hit. So I have to give credit what credit is due. That is a big shot. Steph Curry, man, I don't understand. Like that's and then at the end of it, like you can't even defend what Steph Curry's doing. Like this dude's he throws those fucking threes up from fucking anywhere on the court, and they go fucking right in the net. Doesn't matter where he is. Doesn't matter who the fuck's in his face. Doesn't matter how many guys are in his face. It's unbelievable the way that this guy shoots the ball. And I've of course been seeing it for years, but it's goddamn, it's unbelievable. Every time they play good defense. They were playing good defense down the end of that game. They were. I don't think people are going to give them credit for the defense that they were playing because Steph Curry lit them up at the end. But god damn, those shots were just. There was nothing you could do about it. There's nothing you can do about that. But I do have to say, looking ahead, man, Celtics fans are completely. They want to rip this entire roster apart now. Or we have to be the only fan base, right? That like when we make it to the finals and like we lose in the finals, it's like, okay, we got to blow up this fucking team and we got to start over, right? Like, I mean, god damn it, we're second place in the NBA. We really need to blow this shit up. Like, I don't understand why this fan base thinks this. I just don't understand it. NBA Twitter seems to think this because I keep seeing Hawks fans talking about how they need to trade for Jaylen Brown and that they can send us Clint Capella because, I mean, obviously what I just saw in this series, the Jaylen Brown and Rob Williams just don't work for the Celtics, right? I don't. Jaylen Brown is not, I'm going to just put this out there. Jaylen Brown is not available for trade. Jason Tatum is not available for trade. Marcus Smart is not available for trade. Robert Williams is not available for trade. I even saw Al Horford is probably not available for trade. For the right off, listen, I did see someone say that sources say that the Celtics were looking to trade Al Horford for Mike Conley, and you made that the fuck up. You made that the fuck up. That is hilarious. Um, they don't need to do a lot. The Celtics. I think you can see that they're right there. They were knocking the door. Yes, other teams are going to get healthier next year, but um, what the Celtics need is a reliable third scorer, and they need some bench players. That's really it. You do need someone who can come in and score off the bench. And it was clear as day during that series when Tatum and Brown went on the court. They couldn't run with the Warriors. The Warriors had more people who could score. They had more people who could play defense later in their depth chart. And I mean, that was the story of the series. That and fucking turnovers. So the offseason, the Jays, both Jason and Jalen, they need to work on their handling. They need to work on their IQ. They need to work on their passing. They try to force passes. Marcus Smart too. At times he tries to force some passes. I love Marcus Smart. That's people saying we need a real point guard. Still don't know what that is. If Marcus Smart's a fake one, but um, I love him. I think he forces some passes sometimes. Tries to do a little too fancy. That's something he could work on. Whatever. Tatum, Brown, they need to work on their passing. They need to work on their handles. I think Tatum's dribble is out a little too high and a little too wide. I think that's why it's getting poked out of his hand so much. Brown's dribble just seems a little out of control at times, man, especially when he goes into traffic. He bounces it off his leg, he bounces it off his foot, bounces it off someone else. He's just losing control of the ball when he's dribbling too much in traffic. It's like he's trying to do too much with it at times. But, like I said, neither of them are available for trade. They need a third scorer. They need a bench. They have the 17 million TPE from the Fournier trade that needs to be used up by July 18th. Obviously, I think the next few weeks are going to be fun. Obviously, we don't have a first round pick with the draft being next week, which you can catch coverage of on Into the Lab podcast on the night of the draft. Ernest obsessed with Paulo Banchero. Anyway, the Celtics. I'm not mad that we don't have a first round pick because of Derek White. By the way, I love that we have Derek White. They need to look at guys like Kyle Kuzma, Mo Bamba. I think could be a good option for depth on the bigs. Terrence Ross is a guy that you could look at for depth. I've seen that he might be available for a second round pick. I don't mind that. The early guys, it's all you need. Is you definitely need some depth, some big man depth, because you couldn't get rebounds once Williams and Horford were off the court. You were getting outboarded. No one else was getting them, and I think that looked like part of Steve Kerr's strategy of why he took Kevin Looney out of the starting lineup. His Wiggins and you didn't have Wiggins and Green out there at times, but when Horford and Williams weren't out there, Looney was getting those rebounds. No one else on the Celtics could get it over him. I do think that was part of the strategy. That's how he played the Celtics' depth. And that's one of the things that they're going to need to. Obviously, that's one of the things they need to fix. Also, Dwayne Dedman might be a guy out there that's available. I would much rather prefer a guy like Mo Bamba, but Dwayne Dedman plays some decent defense. He can get some rebounds, obviously. Golden State's offseason is pretty simple, as James Wiseman's coming back for them. They just need to figure out how to work more guys into the roster. But anyway, that's really all there is. Everyone's ripping the Celtics apart. I'm not going to be one of the guys to do that. This is still the single greatest in-season turnaround in the history of the NBA. They were 11th place in their own conference, and they finished second in the NBA to end the year. And that's something that you have to take note of. Ime Udoka, I said this already when the Celtics made the finals, and I'm going to stand by it, even though he got out-coached a little bit by Steve Kerr. Ime Udoka did the best coaching job in the NBA this season by a mile. Because nobody held his team, nobody did that, held his team together like that, and brought him to that. What Ime Udoka managed to do in his first year is absolutely impressive for a rookie head coach. I love what this group was able to do. I was happy to see that they were finally able to get through the Eastern Conference Finals and make it all the way to the finals. Now they just need to get over that hump. Which, it sucks to see them lose, but it's also pretty cool to see him play in the finals. I think this fan base that was born after 2001 doesn't really understand that, like, it can be a lot worse than this. It can be a lot worse than this. But yeah, it should be a fun off season. The NFL training camp is right around the corner. The NFL season is coming up. Can't wait for that. Of course, I'll be talking about that next week. I'll be back at the usual time, talking about whatever the fuck I decide to talk about. Said happy Father's Day. I'm your host, the General. I'll see you next weekend.